Go.
Okay, guys. Hi. Quickly, you see I posted my levels about 11 minutes ago, and I was trying to get them out there in a hurry because we approached the sell side, which we definitely got to the area of the 34, 59, 60 area, which is where I made a sell against my longs. You could see in the fractals, if you look at the fractals, we're driving up on the CIs and the XL and the large from under the medium towards the medium, which is a good sign. We're building CI bars beneath that as well. You could see in the medium and the small fractals in the ES, we passed through the medians and driving up, which you could see on the small fractal, the 3446 level is the median. Once again, like yesterday as we talked, we're going below it, above it, below it, above it. And we've got momentum to the upside, and helping us be able to accomplish that is the fact that the XL and the large are trading above their Bijan bands. You can see the XL, the 341966 area.
Oh, this one. This is XL.
Yeah, to the left. Right.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
It's trading above there, so we got a positive influence there. And over to the right, you'll notice today's lower activity in the ES. We went down to the 34, 32, 33, 35, about 3 times and bounced from there. Right. And that's an area that if you were to go back 5 or 6 days on an ES 30-minute chart, you'll see that that was another area that was the beginning of this big rally to the upside where there was some support. So that was an area where I made a few purchases, and I still hold that area as being a good area to buy today as well, as long as you obviously can, we can maintain in the XL. That 3419 is a really positive area, and we're staying above that with some strength. And if you look at the XL large, the ES large bar graph, you see the Keltner band on the bottom there is 3429, which is lining up my 3430 number, and we're holding that number as well. So that area has been a pretty good area for making some small buys and taking advantage of those buys popping to the upside. You can see we're trying to get to the MBS in the medium bar chart, which is 3462. Once again, my area is 3459, 3461. And the reason I have that area is if you go back and looking at a 30-minute ES chart, you'll see back the end of the day, beginning of the day, 10:11, 4 days ago. That's when we began another run-up in the ES. We went from there all the way back up to the 3540 level. So obviously what happens there is that starts to turn into a little bit of a resistance that we have to get through. So you have a flip-flop of support to resistance, resistance to support. In this particular case, it's resistance, which is in the small bar chart. You see the Bijan band up at 3462. It's trying to get there. And my level was 3459.61. And that 3462 area, both in the small fractal, is a upper Bijan band, and it's also in the medium fractal, it's the MBS. And it's also happens to be just above the median there. So there's some resistance in there, and we need some momentum to be able to carry us through to get there to break into new territory. But right now I'm seeing that as a level for us to run up to and run down from, which is basically how I've been trading it this morning. The market is right now experiencing the news of the lack of the stimulus passing. It's experienced the hold on 3 trials for the COVID. It's experiencing what's going on with the hearings for the Associate Supreme Court Justice. So there's an overhang of a lot of negative news that's brought the market down here. So you got to keep an eye on the news, keep reading the news blips, because those are the areas that once that information turns the other way, these are just pauses in these trails. They're not stops. They'll pause. They'll find out what the problem is. They'll continue on. So that'll be positive. There's a couple other pharmaceutical companies around the world that you guys aren't seeing that I'm seeing that also are doing some testing with antivirals and working in the hopefully in the vaccine space that are making progress, which is good. So that's going to drive the market again to the upside. And they say they won't get a stimulus package until after the election, but I don't believe that at all. I think they're definitely going to accomplish something before that. They're not that far apart. They're like $400 billion apart, which is not much here.
A billion here, a billion there, right?
Yeah, well, they need to help the people. They need to help. The American people are suffering because of their filibustering and their lack of initiative and drive, because they're all playing their political card game here.
Nobody wants to take any risk. That's the thing. They're just covering their ass. Yeah.
And that's very unfortunate for the American people. If it was up to me, I would get rid of both sides of the aisles and start all over. I mean,
folks, you just heard the Roman solution. Okay.
Yeah, these are older politicians that need to move on. They need to go sit in a rocking chair on a porch, drink a beer or a shot, and just watch someone take initiative and get things done. Because what they're doing to the American people is really sad here.
That's right.
About five Fed governors telling you that you need help with fiscal stimulus to keep the economy going and not having it go into a stall. And these are people who are economists that understand the workings of the economy. These politicians need to take heed to what they're saying to them, and they're not. And to me, it's really, I think, very unfortunate, and I think it's complete neglect of their responsibility to the American people as elected officials. So keep an eye on those news items, because those news items will drive this market back to above 35.40 in the E-minis. So you'll see the market turn around 1,000 points when these guys start to accomplish some positives in these areas. This is where right now the pressure on the market is. So I think you're going to get little pops to the upside. You're going to come up to these areas that I'm talking about that are resistance areas. So like I said, these two bands here, the Bijan band and the small fractal 3462, and in the medium, the MBS at 3462 and a little bit below that, which is the same thing as 3460 probably. Those are areas of resistance that we probably will get a little run up, and they'll meet some resistance and back up. If they make their way through that with any momentum, they're going to come across some, heavier resistance, probably around the 34.85 level will be the next level that they got to break through. There's a lot of consolidation up there over a period of a lot of activity. So I think from here, if they break through the 34.62.3 area, they're going to make a move up to the 34.85 area. But right now, I think we're going to stay in this range of probably around 34.39 to this 34.62 area. So you got some trading opportunity. And I think the most important thing to realize is look at your CIs and the overall tone, which is the XL and the large. Makes it, if you're looking for things to the upside, that you got a positive tone there to the upside with the CIs and the CI bars. If they start to collapse and cave, keep a very close eye on the 34.29 area, which is my area that I think is a little bit below me. If we go through that and we head to 34.19, we're going to go lower. We're going to make an assault on 3400 for sure. So you got to keep an eye on that if you're trying to make opportunities to buy in the small fractal in that area, which is right around the 34.39, 34.43 area, even before it gets to my lower level. So that's about it. That's an overview of what I'm seeing. That's how I'm trading it today. And to me, I'm watching those items of news. As you know, because we trade a biotech fund, I get all the emails from all the biotechs and all the pharmacy companies, so I got a close handle on watching what's going on in that space. And obviously, I see all the political blips that could go across my tape. Admiral, thoughts on OPEX and call buying and tech names? Gamma rolling off the books after Friday. I don't really get involved in OPEX. The tech names, once again, you got a lot going on with the Apple rollout. You got a lot going on also on the regulatory side, which I think has stymied them a little bit here. With them trying to find a way to clamp down on them. I think that's put some these explosive upsides that they normally have. So, I don't think they're as freewheeling to the upside as they were. But, you could see by the comments that were made yesterday, you got cyclicals making all-time highs. So, it's good that we're moving out of the tech names into other areas to help drive the market up, because obviously a broad-based move to the upside with more names, more groups is going to make it a more legitimate move to the upside, which is going to, in my opinion, take away my fear that the market could back up really aggressively because of it only being in the tech sector. So I like seeing what's happening. So I think you just got to keep an eye. I think eventually you'll get certain sectors in the energy group that will pop back up for the first time, because it's a completely very suppressed group. Oil is below $40 again. So I think that's going to be the next group if you find the right place in energy. The solar energy groups, as far as he's been talking about, have been strong. So, you'll look at those areas. They're talking about, I get a lot of emails regarding the environment, and they're talking how they're moving out of coal, lack of using coal, and moving into wind to driving electricity. So you got electricity for automobiles and trucking, and you got wind for electricity. So we're moving down the right path to help save the environment and the atmosphere. So I think those parts of energy are going to pop, and they have already popped on the solar side. I think any form of probably energy wind related, and what we're doing is going to help as well. So I'm looking for news to generate the next big upside attack to the highs, and it feels like it wants to do that. They're expecting earnings to be good again this quarter, because you got to remember the earnings forecast by all these companies in the very first quarter, they're all lowered in their expectations going forward, and now obviously they're surpassing those numbers because they were low to begin with. Keep that in mind. We still have a lot of people unemployed, so there's still a lot of problems. You got keep an eye on the COVID, because Europe right now, today my reports all said that Europe is now, they have more cases now than they've ever had since the inception of the problem with COVID. So that means they have more cases being generated infection-wise than they did back in February, March, and April. However, they're not talking about deaths as accelerating, and I think the reason that is because there are a lot of cocktails out there to help people that do get infected. Cocktails, a combination of remdesivir from Gilead, the Regeneron cocktail, there's a Lilly cocktail. So what they're finding is that multiple cocktails, meaning multiple antibodies combined together, are fighting off the COVID as it is, and obviously as it's going through its mutation. And I think that's important, because if you got a lot of infections and you're not getting deaths, that means that immunity is on its way, and that means that people will start to develop their own antibodies, and that's kind of along the philosophy of creating herd immunity. That's about it. That's my overall recap and summary of what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at today.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Just a side comment here. Let me, where's my mouse? Oh, there we go. Okay. The only cocktail I like is Stoli.